It's 6:30 on Monday, December 2nd. We'll call this city council meeting to order. I would ask the finance officer to take roll, please.
Councilman Clay,
Here.
Councilman Hughes,
Here.
Councilman Clint,
Here.
Councilman Miners,
Present.
Councilman Schuyler,
Present.
Councilman Shaheen.
Here.
Now, if you'd all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Finance officer, take roll. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Councilman, at this time, I would ask if there are any conflicts of interest you'd like to declare. Hearing none, I entertain a motion for the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented with the addition of the names.
And we'll get those for you. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Moved by Schuyler, second by Hughes to approve the consent agenda. We'd ask the finance officer to fill in the blanks with the names and salaries.
Looking at item number 2 on the consent agenda, there was a resignation of Amanda Gilliland from the administrative department effective December 6th. And then item number 3, the increased wages of Wombly Foster in the police department to $23.41 per hour for graduating from the LET Academy as of November 15th.
Any comments or discussion?
What was the dollar amount there?
$23.41.
Any other comments or questions or discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Item E, the agenda. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion by Schuyler, second.
I'll make that second, Mr. Mayor.
Second by Miners. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. At this time, we've set aside a 10-minute window for public input. Do we have anybody in the audience that would like to take advantage of that window for public input? Seeing nobody stand up, we'll move on to new hires. Harley, if you would give us the new hires since our last meeting.
There was one new hire, Chance Hawk, in the corrections department, full-time, starting at $22.79 an hour, and that will be December 1st.
Okay, very good. And now for our department reports, Public Works Director Troy Kruger, if you would, please.
Good evening, everyone. Start with the Water and Sewer Department. We put a new 6-inch main over here on North Van Buren. It just wore out, and I think we counted 8 or 9 wrap clamps in a 1 block area, so it was due. They backed it out, as we do every year for the DOT, South Dakota DOT. We backed it out of their shop pits for them. A couple blocks of sewer main, one on East 6th and one up on Hoover Street that we vectored before the winter. Worked on meters and radios, cleaned up and winterized equipment, installed a new 3-inch meter for the fire hall and locates parks and cemetery, a couple funerals in the past couple weeks, picked up the leaves and cemetery in the ball fields. They're just, getting their equipment back into shape, and with the nice weather, they were able to get out and start doing a little bit of work on the backstops at the Bailey Field. That's for the improvement project. Light department, I gave you guys a handout. It's a copy of an email, and what that is every year MRES will set a rate for alternative energy. So in our case, we have I think we have 3 customers in the city of Winter that have solar power, and whatever they overproduce, MRES will buy back, and that rate this year is 2.55 cents per kilowatt hour. Still working on that up there on the east side of town, Roosevelt, 9th Street area. They pulled some more lines up there. We moved, on Tripp Avenue, we moved back a junction box to put us into an easement that we've proposed with the landowner up there. Returned service line on West 9th, restrung, oil samples from our substation, our big transformers out at the substation. We pulled the oil samples out of them, sent them in for analysis. We bought a couple of rebuilt transformers from Jerry's Electrics. Those were two transformers that we were not able to get brand new, so they came up as rebuilds and we purchased them. Pulled some more wires up in that Roosevelt 9th Street area. We had a small fire out at the West RV Park. One of our transformers, it just a little fire on the top of it. Some of the oil started to bubble out. So they took that one down, replaced that, and then they fixed and hung Christmas lights in the downtown area. And I've been asked, by several people, if we're going to ever put street lights, Christmas lights back up on the highway. So in the years that we had the highway project going, we opted not to, just because of the project. But right now we're down to what we have for workable lights right now. We can just basically do the downtown areas. So the answer is no. We don't have the lights to do the Main Street area and the highway. So that's something we'll talk about in probably streets or parks and cemetery in the future. Streets and sanitation, we milled down 7th Street from the highway out to Johnson Street, and then South County over here going north to the end of town. Those 2 streets were just getting really beat up, and both those streets were blotter streets to begin with, so they were never actually an asphalt street, and they'd just gotten to the point where they were not fixable. We milled them off, and then we overlaid them with just recycled material, and we'll just leave them like that for the winter and the spring. But next year they'll be on the top of the list for an actual overlay of asphalt, so they will not be. That's not a permanent situation there. It's just something to make the street better shape than it is to get us through the winter and the early months of next year. They helped hang the Christmas banners, worked on equipment, worked on snow equipment, worked on some alleyways, winterized summer equipment, put away, ran the sweeper on the highway for the last time. And then also out at our landfill rubble site, we have several contaminated soil areas out there, and to my knowledge, I was not able to find any results or evidence that those sites had ever been tested. So I sent in samples of those to test those sites to see how many parts per million we have of contamination in the soil out there. So we kind of have a plan, and hopefully maybe some of them have dissipated to the point where we won't have to turn them anymore, but we are required by our permit to turn those 7 times a year, so it takes a little bit of time to do it. So, and then in closing, I guess Jake's up next, and I don't want to steal his thunder, but we did receive a grant from the state of South Dakota to help us out with our Monroe Street project, and he's here to talk about that. Jeremy Clay.
Christmas lights on the 4 lanes. Remind me, Troy, when those new light poles were put up, were they designed and constructed for hanging Christmas lights on them?
Yeah.
What about the banner going across? That was not designed for that, was it?
I don't know 100% the answer to that. I would have to go back and look. I know it was talked about, but a lot of that stuff was done before I was the public works director, And I don't know if those poles were reinforced to take the weight of the cable and the side-to-side banner. Don't know that answer.
I don't remember.
The
There was
the
conversation.
banner going across used to be on wooden light poles, not on the state light poles. They were on their own separate poles. I don't know if they got taken out during that road construction project, but you might want to look into that.
Yeah, they're no longer there. So
Okay.
I'd have to do some research to find that out.
Okay.
Any other questions?
When do we go out of contract for mill and grind and overlay?
Do we have one for next year yet?
Yeah.
No, not. We'll have to go out to bids on it again. Anyone else?
Thanks, Fred.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Troy. I have next on the list is our engineer, Jake Morris.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As Trent mentioned, a bit of an update on Monroe Street project. As you recall, we submitted for what's called a Community Access Grant back in July on that project. At last Tuesday's Transportation Committee for the South Dakota DOT, that project was one of 5 awarded for that $600,000 grant. 16 applicants, winner scored top 5 of those 16. We haven't seen a detail to see where that all shook out, if you will, but for all intents, obviously great news there. Good stepping stone towards getting that project moving and off the ground, if you will. More information and paperwork and that will come from the DOT. But kind of the way forward here is not a lot of immediate action here in the next month or so, but as we get into 2025, we'll, kind of work together to sharpen some pencils, really scope that project, get into some more finite design, and then kind of set us up to budget for like a 2026 construction window, would, consistent with what we talked about back in July. But, yeah, all good things, of course, for that project. I don't have much other than that. Like I said, not a lot of immediate action. I'm going to be working through some stuff with the DOT, but that project's on its way.
50/50?
So that one is, it's a $600,000 match grant. It accounts for up to 80% of eligible construction costs. Those costs are mostly specific to surfacing, storm sewer, things of that nature, not so much on the water and sewer side. So, yeah, it's, when we submitted it, we had kind of looked at a Phase 1A, Phase 1B. Phase 1A being the 2 blocks of Monroe between 2nd Highway 18 and 4th Street, and then the Phase 1B being the block north of the highway, and then Van Buren Street, just between this building and the Catholic Church over there. So that's kind of the 4-block area that would be, the most we would move forward with, mostly due to funds, whereas the 2 blocks of Monroe between the highway and 4th Street are the priority, certainly, and where we're initially focus our attention.
So Jake, is there anything, or what do you see as the reasoning why we scored so high on this? Is it just that Winter's the southern hub city, or condition, or the overall project, the plan design that you guys put together with the works of the Public Works Director, or what was the catalyst there? What did it?
Yeah, I'd sure like to give DGR and District 3 all the credit, but it's really, the reason it was selected is it's a good project for what this looks to fund, this program looks to fund. So a lot of that scoring is based on the project location, area businesses. So, this location of town means its proximity to several businesses. That was certainly a selling point in the scoring. Existing road condition has a lot to do with it. The DOT actually comes out and observes and looks at the road. I would like to believe that this scored very high in that category considering the condition of the existing concrete roadway there. And then also some of the pedestrian ADA access criteria, if you will. That section of roadway has very little sidewalk that is able to be reasonably used by pedestrians. So kind of a culmination of factors, but yes, this is very much a grant that is geared towards projects that are going to be, benefit more of, business districts, areas of higher traffic, adjacent to schools, things of that nature, as opposed to like a local street adjacent to residential homes. So very good candidate for it and yeah, scored accordingly.
I'll speak for myself, envision this Monroe Street project to be very similar to Main Street when we get done as for usability and aesthetic.
Correct. Yes, and for the record, that's how we had kind of laid out the preliminary design in the application, was that it would be a Main Street 2.0, for lack of a better term. Mayor Schramm?
Are you planning on this taking 3 construction seasons to complete, or what are you thinking?
No, but considering the size and the scope, I think it could certainly be done in 1 construction season. If it shakes out in an ideal schedule, we would use 2025 to budget, scope, design. We would be letting bids sometime in the winter, a year from now to January, February of '26, and then starting construction in the spring of '26 and wrapping up before that fall. Certainly able to be done in 1 construction season, which would be the intent unless there was a desire for more, but usually it works best to try to get it wrapped up before winter, of course.
And this will encompass additional parking on Monroe Street, as well as sidewalks on the west side of the street?
Correct, yep. It would be a more elaborate and appropriate on-street, diagonal parking, and then new sidewalks on both sides that would, be better accommodating business access, things of that nature. So.
Is there new lighting in this?
Yes, there,
Street lighting?
correct, yep. Similar to Main Street, going back to,
Similar to Main
yep,
Street, like that, okay.
correct.
Okay.
Yep. And, might I add, that's, all of these design parameters that I'm mentioning have, what was reflected on the preliminary side of things. That's not to say they're set in stone and can't change based on, different things we find out, but, certainly the intent going forward.
Very good. Any other questions for,
Just a
Jake?
comment. Thank you for your work on this. I know we paid you to do it, but good job, thank you. And Troy, Public Works, it's a great project, excited about it.
You bet, appreciate it.
okay. At this time, we ask the Public Safety Director, Mitch Miller.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council. I passed out a 4-page report concerning the Winter Police Department and then Winter Communications Center. The 4 points that I need to just brief you upon for the police department is they are going to be encumbering some expense from 2024 to 2025, and you can see the 4 items that are listed there. They have all been ordered. Some transmission problems on one vehicle, so that is letter number A. Letter number B, computer that has been ordered, it's not here yet, for $2,500. The third thing is a security cage and installed in the new patrol vehicle, $5,000. And finally, the last thing, Mr. Mayor and Council, body armor, which was ordered last spring but has not arrived yet. So you add that up, it's roughly around $13,000. I talked with the finance office this morning, and the budget is in good shape to carry that over, sir. So questions on that aspect before we turn to the next page?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Miller, elaborate on that just a little bit
Yes,
more
sir.
in detail for
Yes,
the
sir.
public. Encumbering, I know you just alluded to it, but encumbering means it's in your 24 budget, and you're just going to carry that line item over into the 25 expenditure column, right?
Yes, sir, absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. Good question.
Are your officers currently covered in terms of body armor? Like, is this just excess to have on hand, or do you have anybody that's not, you know?
They all have access to it. There is a life expectancy, obviously, on a good piece of equipment. And so what we're trying to do is rotate the older units to refresh them and to give them optimal safety when they're doing their job, so.
Thank you.
You can look through the last, or the next page, the one called the Winter Communication Center. You can see there were over 2,000 incidences recorded in the computer at our dispatch center. They do continue to be relatively busy. Call volumes for the month of November were a slight lower than they were the month prior. Dispatch news that Andrea, the head dispatcher, wanted me to convey to you is the NCIC. That's a fancy word for getting the feds permission to run a system. An agreement has been sent out to Gregory County, Gregory PD, and Burke PD, but they have some work before we are going to move forward. The third page is the total calls for service, and you can see they are broken down to differentiating warrants, I guess, for a total of 2,008 incidents. And the last page is our local police department here with their numbers for the month of November 1 through November 30th. So that again is just for your information purposes. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them. So if not, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. And item number 4, the Finance Officer, Harley Koenig, please.
Good afternoon. I don't have a lot for tonight's finance office report, but there will be a special event at St. Mary's Hall for a fundraiser benefit on December 15th and 16th this year. Everything has been received and approved for that. Other things we have going on, there will be municipal and school election training. It's a webinar type training this week that some of us in the office will attend. It's kind of short, but that's all I have. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Harley. At this time, we'll announce bid openings for the bulk fuel and propane bids. Harley, do you have that information for us?
I do. Do you want me to go up?
Yep, please.
So the bulk fuel bids were open at 1 p.m. on November 18th. It was by Holly and the accounts payable and myself. The number 1 diesel state bid price and delivery fee of 25 cents was bid by Schaefer. They also bid number 2 diesel state bid price and delivery fee of 25 cents. And then they also bid unleaded regular gasoline at the state bid price for 21 cents of the delivery fee. And there was no other effective bids for those. For propane, Schaefer bid $1.34 per gallon, and CHS bid $1.30 per gallon. So that one went to CHS. And then no bidders submitted an effective bid for heating fuel, but heating fuel will be acquired as needed.
If you could you give us the Public Works recommendation on both of those, on all those bids, please, separately?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, you didn't take that with you? Okay. If your mic is on, you can do it from right here.
Oh, okay. I'll get it as it is.
Okay. Troy Kruger, if you would give us those bid numbers, please.
Propane bid was awarded to CHS for $1.30 a gallon, and then the bulk fuel was awarded to Schaefer. The heating oil, there was a little misunderstanding about the heating oil. So the heating oil is actually just number 1 or number 2 diesel. So that would be awarded to Schaefer also. He did not bid it because he put the bid in for number 1 and number 2 dyed diesel, which is what we would purchase to do that. So we're going to change our bid specs to just not say heating oil. The only reason we call it heating oil is because it's taxed differently than road fuel. So we call it heating oil when we purchase it.
Okay, thank you. Now is the time set aside for public hearings, of which we have none. We'll move on to old business. Item number 1, do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve second reading, passage, and approval of ordinance number 1087, a 2024 supplemental appropriation ordinance.
Motion by Schuyler, do we have a second?
Mr. Mayor, I'll second that motion.
Second by Miners. Any discussion on this?
What's it for?
What's it for? This was for the donation from the private fundraising group that gave us money for benches and things at the pool. Is that right, Mr. Kruger?
Right.
Okay. That's what it is. This is the second reading. Any other questions, discussion, points of information? With that, we'll have a roll call vote, starting with Councilman Shaheen. Yes or no?
Yes.
Clay?
Yes.
Miners?
Yes.
Clunt?
Yes.
Hughes?
Aye.
And Schuyler?
Aye.
Thank you very much. That motion passes with all ayes for passage and approval of ordinance number 1087, a 2024 supplemental appropriation ordinance. Item number 2, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the 911 contract for 2024 Lyman County and have the mayor sign.
Motion by Hughes, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
By Clunt. Any discussion?
That was the last one, correct, Mitch?
There's one more.
One more.
Okay. Any other discussion? Questions, points of information? This will also be a roll call vote. Councilman Clay?
Yes.
Miners?
Yes.
Clunt?
Yes.
Hughes?
Aye.
Schuyler?
Aye.
And Shaheen?
Yes.
That motion passes all ayes to approve the 9/11 contract for 2024 Lyman County and have the mayor sign. Thank you very much. Move on to new business. Item number 1, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to award the bid for 2025 propane contract to CHS in the amount of $1.30 a gallon.
Motion by Clunt, do we have a second?
I'll second.
By Hughes, second by Hughes. Any discussion? This will be roll call. Councilman Miners?
Yes.
Clunt?
Yes.
Hughes?
Aye.
Schuyler?
Aye.
Shaheen?
Yes.
And Clay?
Yes.
That motion carries 6-0. Thank you very much. Item number 2, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to award the bid for 2025 bulk fuel contract to Schaefer for state bid price plus delivery fee in the amount of 25 cents. 21 cents for no lead gas, delivery fee of 25 cents for dyed diesel.
And just because I turned my page, is that the numbers that are on the bid? Can everybody confirm that? The 25 and 21?
And is it
Those are the
20
numbers we have.
Is it 25 on the number 2 dyed?
Yeah, it's 25.
Okay, 21, 25, 25.
So there's a 21 cent for no lead gas, delivery fee of 25 cents for number 1 dyed diesel, and a delivery fee of 25 cents for number 2 dyed diesel. Is that what's on the paper? Okay, thank you very much.
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Motion by Clunt, second by Clay, to accept the bid, to the award the 2025 bulk fuel contract to Schaefer Oil for the state bid price plus a delivery fee in the amount of 21 cents for no lead, delivery fee of 25 cents for number 1 dyed diesel, and delivery fee of 25 cents for number 2 dyed diesel. Any discussion on this? Good thing we only do it once a year. Confuses me.
Is that
Okay.
per gallon?
Yep,
Like 21 cents per gallon for the unleaded you're getting, correct?
that's the delivery fee, that's correct.
The delivery, fee, right, yeah. Pardon? Not only.
So per mile, not per gallon.
I'm sorry?
Per mile, not per
Yeah.
gallon.
mile. The 21 cents and the 25 cents per mile, not per gallon price. You get the per gallon price from the state bid website.
Right, we get the per gallon price, and the delivery fee is per mile?
So we get 500 gallons, we pay a quarter for them to drive 1 mile. What's the mile?
Way ahead.
I told you it was confusing, we can't even find it.
Maybe I'm wrong, because it's 25 cents per gallon.
I believe that's, the 21 cents is per gallon, not per mile. Yep.
I can be wrong, I don't, this is the first year we've ever did this, I don't know, I mean, all I understand is.
Can we pull the bid? What's it specifically say? What we request?
I got it in front of me. It says, number 1 diesel bid price and so many dollars delivery fee. Okay, the bid price is on a per gallon basis, and
Sure,
the
the
delivery
delivery
fee is
fee would
also
be-
on a per gallon basis.
It specifically says that?
It's 25 cents. Unleaded regular gas would be 21 cents, and the fuel oil is, or the diesel fuel is 25 cents. That's a per gallon
That
bid.
is correct, that's my mistake.
I'm sorry?
You're correct, that was my mistake.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, just want to make sure that we all understand what we're voting on before we vote, okay? These are per gallon prices on the bid, okay? So with that, this will be a roll call vote. Hope everybody understands. Clunt,
Yes.
Hughes,
Aye.
Schuyler,
Aye.
Shaheen,
Yes. Yes.
Clay,
Yes.
and Miners.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for the confusion there. We'll try to do better next time. Okay, item number 3. Do we have a motion?
Just need deleted.
I'm sorry?
This item could be deleted.
There was no fuel oil bid.
Because that's the number 2.
That's what Troy explained was
Right.
That was item number 2 that we just dealt with. Item number 3 is ordinance number 1088 a supplemental appropriation ordinance.
You're in the
It's not
wrong
what ours
On my
area.
agenda.
You're in old business.
No, there should be.
No, this is new business, item 3.
Item 3 isn't an ordinance number.
It's award bid for 2025.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that one is scratched out. Very sorry. So then it will go to the board.
We're not dealing with item number 3?
No, yours is different.
My numbers
Yeah.
are different?
Yeah, I updated it.
So should that be
Yeah.
a 4 there? Okay. So item number 4, does your stuff say first reading on ordinance number 1088? No.
I don't even have that on
This is
mine.
an MOU with the city of Lynn. Campaign Gate Council.
Okay, okay, we'll go to item number 4 and I'll get this figured out.
The one that was on the website is what Mayor Schreier has.
Yeah.
Okay. Item number 4, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between City of Winter and Main Gate Counseling Service.
I'll second.
Motion by Shaheen. Second by Hughes. Any discussion?
What is this?
This is a
So-
rent, is it not?
Yes. Mr. Miller.
Thanks for the opportunity there, Councilman Clunt. What this is, it's an agreement with a counseling service that is located in Winter to actually and effectively enter into our jail to provide substance abuse counseling. I'm a proponent of rehabilitating the inmates and punishing them. So it's a win-win. It's not going to cost the city of Winter any money other than offering some space inside our jail, and our administrator is on board with this and feels like it is a good idea as well.
Okay.
Okay?
They have done this in the past, right? Isn't that what she'd said?
They have done it. It's been several years back, so yes. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
This does come out of committee with approval too. I'd make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between the City of Winter and Main Gate Counseling Service.
We already did that.
We have the motion and the second.
Okay.
Okay. Any other discussion? This will be a roll call vote, starting with Councilman Hughes.
Aye.
Skylar?
Aye.
Shaheen?
Yep.
Clay?
Yes.
Miners?
Yes.
And Clunt?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay, evidently, I have a different agenda than some of you have.
So your guys is the ones that I printed. It doesn't have this, but it does on the one I sent you in the email and then
So
on
we
the
just need to
website, so,
circle back to number 3 that we have online, right?
yeah. Yep.
So that's not on the agenda then?
The number, the ordinance 1088.
Right. They're 1088, you don't have a 1088
On
on
the
your
printed
agenda?
version that she put down, we don't, but online it
Online
is, so we're
there is.
good. We can follow that on
Okay,
here.
then,
It's on the online.
Yep.
This is the agenda we approved, the one that was published in
Right.
the paper. So yes, we need the address number 3 on the list you're referring to.
okay, so I asked for your advice, do we wait till the next meeting?
No, we can address it
We
now.
can act on that?
It was published.
Okay, because it is published,
published.
okay. So item number 3, I'll just read it because maybe you evidently don't have it. It's a supplemental appropriation ordinance dealing with money from the cash on hand to address the money that we need to spend for the release of our former finance officer, paying vacation pay and sick leave that we owe to that person. It also addresses, and I hate to use the word shortfalls, but budgeting changes in the general fund for the administration building utilities of $3,000. At the airport, the specialty fund of $65,000 coming from cash on hand, and into airport projects. In the Parks Department for salaries, $10,000 coming from general fund, cash on hand. And, okay, I already addressed the finance office. That was $28,000 for payment of those obligations. And in the sanitation enterprise fund, for building, $180,000, and for equipment, $290,000. These appropriations are to get those accounts back to zero instead of being short at the end of the year. Okay? I don't know why there was a confusion as far as this piece of paper being in your packet, but you say it's online?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So, Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion.
Thank you very much, Mr.
You
Clay.
want
We
me
had-
to read it?
You don't have to read it, I just did.
Oh, excuse me,
Yep.
I'm on the wrong line again.
Okay. This is ordinance number 1088. and
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion for first reading of ordinance number 1088, 2024 supplemental appropriation ordinance.
Very good. Do we have
I'll
a second? Motion by Clay, second by Hughes. Any other discussions? If I can answer the questions, otherwise Harley can.
So Jeremy, if you don't have a question, I'm just wondering, why are these budgets, why are they short? Like, I understand the payment for the finance officer and Paul and those, but where did we go short for the other ones?
Felicia, I'll tell you that this motion would normally be made on the 28th or 29th day of December.
Okay.
To clear up all of our accounts where we may have spent more than what we budgeted, but yet have the money in a fund that we can transfer it from. This transfers monies from cash on hand
Yep.
to an appropriate budget to make them back to zero, which is what we're required to do.
Okay, Felicia, on sanitations, that's the waiting, once the bills are paid, then we get the money from the state.
Right.
That's,
Yeah. I think overall, it's good for the community to know too, though, why this is,
Yep.
you know.
Troy, if you could elaborate on this a little bit.
Yeah, so the Parks one was for salaries, and then a couple projects got done in the Parks Department over the course of the year that were not budgeted for in 2024. In the Sanitation Department, as you're aware, we got some grant money that will pay for the building and the equipment when that grant money comes in. But we have to receive all the equipment and have to have the checks cashed before we can submit those to the state to get reimbursement for those grants, so that there's a large amount of money that's being transferred out of cash on hand in water into cash on hand, or into sanitation to cover those overages until we get reimbursed for that grant.
Okay. Thank you.
It's simply an accounting issue that we have to deal with by state law. I think that's as fair as I can make it for you. Okay. Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor, it does not state this in the packet, but for just CYA, I'm going to call for this motion to be a roll call.
Okay. We'll do a roll call vote, and that will be, Skylar, you'll be first.
Aye.
And Shaheen,
yes.
and Clay,
Yes.
Miners,
Yes.
and Clunt,
Yes.
and Hughes.
Aye.
Thank you very much. That motion passes. For first reading of ordinance number 1088, a 2024 supplemental appropriation ordinance. I am really sorry for the confusion on that, but it's all good and right, okay? Item number 5, we get there. Claims. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to pay the claims as presented.
Motion by Skylar, second by
Paul second.
Good thing you guys came tonight.
Do we need to add the extra expenditures, or is that wait till second reading?
It would wait till second reading.
Okay? All in favor of paying the claims, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. We have no need, I'm told, for an executive session. I would look for a motion for adjournment.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion to adjourn.
And a second
Second.
by Clay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
At 7:15 PM. Thank you very much for coming.
No, that was all my fault.